with hat or no hat. It'll be the first fucking tutorial I do without a haircut. I feel like I'm frozen. I'm gonna do it with a hat. Shout out the hat. Going on, Faded Culture, it's Sergio Barron, and we back again with another haircut tutorial. Today I got my boy Angel here on the chair, and I'm gonna be doing a skin razor fade on him. But today, instead of using an electric shaver, I got a request by my boy Damn, I forgot his name. What's going on, Faded Culture? It's Sergio Barron, and we back again with another haircut tutorial. Today I got my boy Angel here on the chair, and I'm gonna be showing y'all my step-by-step process on how to do a skin razor fade. In this video, I'm gonna be using just a straight razor instead of using an electric shaver for my boy Nicholas Soto that requested the video in the comment section, so thank you, Nicholas. Also, before we start, I wanna quickly shout out the merchandise, fadedculture.co. We got the new sweaters with the front and back print. We also got some caps and we got some other cool stuff on the website, so be sure to check it out if y'all haven't already. So with that being said, guys, I hope y'all enjoyed this tutorial. If y'all do, please leave it a thumbs up and be sure y'all subscribe for more videos like this. So with that being said, let's jump right into the tutorial. Alright guys, and just so y'all know, we did just drop our brand new Faded Culture capes on the website, so check them out at fadedculture.co. And now, just like every other tutorial, when we do or before we do our scissor trimming, just know we like to saturate the hair really well so that it makes it that much easier to section out the hair. And here to start, he only wanted a little bit of a trim on top, so I'm gonna use the fine tooth side of the comb here since it helps grip the hair that much easier. And I'm gonna just pull out a small section at a time, starting from the back and then just trimming away the tips of the hair. So as you see here, I'm grabbing the next section, moving up about a ½ inch at a time, and then again just cutting off the tips. He's trying to let it grow, so we're not cutting too much off the top, just trimming it and just keeping it nice and clean as it grows out. So just keep repeating this process a small section at a time until we reach the front forehead area. And now once you've reached the front, now we're going to do the exact same thing starting from the back left side now. And all we're doing is matching up the length that we cut down the middle onto the left section. So as you see here, any little hair that sticks up or outside of my finger, all I'm doing is matching it up to the middle section that we cut. And then we'll just follow through and repeat the exact same process, but now from the right side of his head. So all we're doing, guys, is matching up the left and the right side top sections of the hair to the middle section. And then once we're done with the scissor trimming, we're just gonna go ahead and start blow drying his hair down into the natural position that we want it to lay. And here I'm using this hand comb. I'll leave it down in the description for y'all with all the tools as well, so y'all can feel free to purchase them if y'all like. And then here I'm gonna just comb away his hard part and kind of just shape out the haircut before we start doing our clipper trimming. So here I'm gonna grab my number 2 guard and I'm gonna close the lever all the way closed to make it a true 2. And he likes this side, the left side of his hard part, to be trimmed down to a 2. So I'm gonna make sure I use my comb, the fine side of it, to really grip the long hair out of the way and give us space so that we can trim this whole left side of his hair onto a 2. And then once we reach the back, I'm gonna open that lever all the way so that we can start blending in that number 2 guard onto the back longer length of his hair. And next, I'm gonna go ahead and just grab that number 3 guard with the lever open to finish connecting that number 2 guard onto the longer length of the hair. And after that, we're pretty much set to start setting in our guidelines. To lay down our first one, I'm gonna come in with the clipper lever closed all the way to lay down my first guideline. And since we are doing a straight regular skin fade, I'm gonna start my first guideline a little bit right above the temple peak area, and then I'm gonna make sure that I follow this guideline all the way around his head as straight as possible. Just take your time and make sure that this first guideline is laid down as straight and as clean as possible, since the rest of our guidelines are gonna run parallel to this one.
So like I said, just make sure you take your time, because if this first guideline isn't straight, then the rest of the guidelines won't be straight, and then we'll just be left with a crooked haircut. So as you see here, once you're done, you're going to want to make sure that you're as even as possible from the front and back side before moving on to the next guideline. And next, I'm going to just open the lever all the way on our clipper to lay down our next guideline. This time, I'm going to just come up about a ½ inch from that previous guideline that we set. And like I said, we're just going to make sure that it runs as parallel as possible to that first guideline that we laid down. And also guys, I do zero gap all of my clippers and all of my trimmers, just so that it can cut as close as possible to the skin. So if y'all are interested in learning how to zero gap your clippers, I will leave a video down in the description on where I show y'all how to zero gap your clipper. Moving forward, now we're going to grab our number 1 guard with that lever still all the way open, and we're going to lay down our next guideline. Since his hair was pretty long, I kind of clipped it out of the way so that we don't trim any of that hair off. And then I just proceeded with laying down our next guideline, again coming up about another ½ inch from the previous guideline that we finished laying down. And I can't stress it enough, guys, take your time when laying down these guidelines, because the cleaner that you can lay them down, the cleaner you'll be able to see them, and the easier it will be to blend them out. And now for our next guideline, I'm gonna grab my number 2 guard with that lever all the way open still. And since this side was a number 2 originally, we won't be cutting anything off on this side. But once we reach the back is where you will be noticing that you'll be setting in your next guideline. Again, coming up about a ½ inch to an inch up higher than the previous guideline that we set. Sorry guys, I don't know why the hell that where word just wasn't rolling out of my tongue. But anyway, next we're gonna grab our number 3 guard with that lever all the way open still. And here we're gonna not so much try to set in a guideline, but instead try to connect the side length to the top length without kind of scooping in too much to the top length, if that makes sense. So as you see here, that comb for reference is what you're gonna kind of try to imitate, so to speak. So just picture his hair being kind of like a square shape, and we're just gonna, as we reach that round part of his head, is where you're gonna kind of exit with the clipper and kind of just blend into the top length of his hair. And again, since the left side of his head is already a 2, you're not gonna need to go there with the number 3 guard. But then for the rest of the hair that hangs over, we're just gonna clipper over comb till we finish connecting the side length to the top length. And then once you're done with this, we're pretty much left with our 3 guidelines. So as you see here, you have your first guideline, your second, and then your third. We are going to blend out these guidelines starting with that uppermost guideline and then just work our way down to the last one. So for that top guideline, I'm gonna throw on that 1.5 clip, but I'm gonna position that lever on the 3/4 position. And all that position is the lever positioned in between all the way open and halfway open. So just put it right there in the middle of those 2 spots, and that's the position that we're gonna use as that 3/4 spot to blend out this top guideline. And then as I enter the top guideline, I'm just using more so the corner of the clipper so that it helps me get in there in a more detailed fashion. And then I'm gonna just blend out that top guideline a little at a time until we soften it up as much as possible and we get ready to move on to the next guideline. And guys, also keep in mind that if your clipper ain't doing anything to that guideline on that 3/4 position, then go ahead and close it a little bit at a time until you see that clipper actually doing some cutting. Our clippers may be adjusted different, so that may be the reason why it ain't cutting at that 3/4 spot. But now, as you see here, we're gonna start blending out this middle guideline. For this guideline, I'm gonna use the half clip and I'm gonna leave that lever position on that 3/4 spot. And again, I'm gonna just attack that guideline using the corner of the clipper until we can blend it out as much as possible. But just be sure to stay right there where that initial guideline first is, and then just take note that you will leave a little faint line right above it, as you see here. But don't worry, don't go and chase it with this guard, because then you will take up the fade up too high. We'll come back after we finish softening it up with this guard and then with the higher guard in a little bit to finish taking it out. But for now, just use this half clip with that lever position on that 3/4 until we blend out as much as possible of this second guideline. So like I said, next we're just gonna grab that number 1 guard, still leaving that lever position on that 3/4 spot, and then just continue taking out this middle guideline completely and just blending it into the rest of the top length of the hair. And guys, just know that if you're just starting out, this whole process can be overwhelming and tedious. So I do recommend that you call up a client on your time off or something and then just kind of tell him he's gonna be sitting down for a good while. But just tell him to shut up, sit down, and I don't know, buy him a drink or something, and just tell him that you want to take your time and really get these steps down and get your practice in. So yeah, I mean, that's what I did when I first started. I remember I had a few of my buddies had to get up and stretch a couple of times because that's how long I would take to get my practice in. But I mean, and plus the haircut was for free, so I mean, they had no reason to complain. And now for this last guideline, it's gonna take 4 lever positions to take out. First, starting with the clipper lever open a tad bit from it being closed, and then I open it halfway, and then I open it to the 3/4 spot, and then I open it all the way. We're gonna gradually open it as we move up a tad bit at a time on this line. And since it does take 4 lever positions, I'm gonna focus on just blending it out on this left side first. So here, like I said, I'm gonna start with that clipper lever open just a tad bit from it being closed. So remember, we set it down with the clipper lever closed, so now I just opened it a tad bit, and all I'm doing is softening it up a little bit at a time until we can start seeing it blend out. And next, I'm gonna just position that lever on that halfway spot and then just continue blending a tad bit higher from where we previously were. And next, for the third position, we're gonna put it on that 3/4 spot, and again, just continue blending a little higher. And you see, as we progress on that line, you're gonna kind of start seeing it blend into the rest of the fade. And next, we're just gonna open that lever all the way to finish trying to tie in this line all the way out. But just remember, we're only coming up a tad bit higher than from where we previously were. So if you feel like with the lever all the way open, didn't completely take it out, then don't go ahead and start trying to go any higher than that. We'll come back in with the half guard to do our little touch-up work to finish connecting it. So as you see here, anything left is where I'm gonna come in with my half guard, and I'm gonna position that lever on that 3/4 spot, and then just kind of detail the rest of these little dark areas that need to be blended out until we can get a consistent, nice and smooth fade. So once I was done with that, I just proceeded with doing the exact same thing on the back side of his head. Again, we started with the clipper lever open a tad bit, then we opened it halfway, and then we opened it to that 3/4 spot, and then all the way, and then we came in with our half guard with that 3/4 position, and then just finished blending out the last guideline. And then again, just following the exact same steps on the right side of the head until that last guideline is completely taken out all around his head. And really quick guys, again, we want to thank y'all for that 300K subscriber milestone that we hit. Also, congratulations to all the winners from last week that we announced on Sunday. And also stay tuned, because once we reach that 400K, we'll be doing another giveaway. And now moving forward, I'm gonna start kind of balding out the top part of the bottom of the hair. So as you see here, I'm coming in with my trimmer upside down, since this does tend to leave the hair a lot balder than when you come with it this way. But then once you do that, I'm gonna flip it right over and then just kind of blend out whatever little faint line I might have created into the rest of the fade. I'm doing this because since it does leave it balder upside down, it'll be easier to transition that razor skin fade to it when we start to shave out his hair. And then next, I'm gonna just start detailing the hard part from his hair and also his box edge up in the front before we come in and start using our straight razor. So as you see here with my comb, I'm gonna just kind of pull away all the long hair so that I don't trim any of that. And then I'm gonna just come in with my trimmer and kind of really bring out that hard part as much as possible. And if y'all know me, guys, if y'all see me in my previous videos, I always like to use spritz, since this does freeze and lock the hair in place, and it makes it a lot easier for me to use my trimmer to set in my front edge up. So then as soon as I spray it, I just blow dry it until it's dry to the touch. And once it is dry, I'll come in with my trimmers and start setting in my hard lines. I'll start by setting in my vertical bar and then just kind of work my way up to the middle. And then once I'm done on one side, I'll do the exact same thing on the opposite side. Again, setting in my vertical bar and then just kind of meeting down in the same spot but in the middle. And then once you're kind of done, just take a step back and get a good broad view of the hairline. Make sure that it's as straight as possible before you start doing your straight razor work. I will be using a Turkish straight razor. So for this, I like to kind of break off the edge pieces of the razors so that it's easier to slide in. And for this one, we'll be using our very own Faded Culture matte black Turkish razors. They will be linked in the description, guys, or y'all can find them at fadedculture.co. And then before we start actually shaving, I'll apply some shaving gel throughout all the areas, and then I'll follow that with applying some water as well, just to preserve that shaving gel from keeping it from drying. Then we'll just start doing our shaving. I like to kind of shave down first on all the areas, kind of taking off most of the shaving gel and the hair. And then after that, I'll kind of start detailing the sides, trying to get these lines as sharp and hard as possible. And then I'll just do some reverse shaving to kind of get as close as possible to the skin. And don't forget to detail any hard lines with your straight razor, just so that they look as sharp as possible. Enhancements are optional, but if y'all do like to use them, just mix equal parts dye with some water on this portable air gun and just kind of lightly spray them on. And now we're gonna start prepping our hair for the shave. I'm gonna apply a very generous amount of shaving gel and make sure that I massage it in down to the cuticle roots of the hair so that we can soften it up as much as possible. And also I'm gonna apply some water after the shaving gel just to help again preserve the life of that shaving gel. And then I'm gonna also use a fresh new blade on my Turkish razor. I'm gonna not expose it so much. I'm gonna put it as low as possible so that it can have a lot more tension, since we're gonna do a lot more shaving this time. And then as I tug with my opposite hand on the skin, I'm gonna just continuously give it these small strokes of shaving until we completely shave out all of his hair. And also, guys, before doing any straight razor haircut, just make sure that your client tells you or lets you know beforehand if he has any scabs or bumps that you might need to be aware of, so that you don't kind of cut them when you're shaving. Just keep that in mind so that you prevent any kind of skin abrasions or skin cuts. But that's pretty much it, guys. Once you're done, you're just gonna want to quickly blow dry and dust off your client as clean as possible. and then just apply some sort of hair product on his hair. For this one, I used some gel, and all I did was comb it in and styled it into like a slick back look. But that's pretty much it, guys, for this tutorial. Here's the before in case y'all forgot what he looked like. And here's the after. I hope y'all guys really enjoyed this tutorial and were able to learn something from this razor skin fade using a straight razor. If y'all did, guys, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Leave me down a comment of what y'all thought about it, or maybe another suggestion about what video we should do. And also don't forget to subscribe to the channel so y'all can stay up to date on all the videos that we drop for y'all. Again, guys, my name is Sergio Barron. This is Faded Culture, and I'll catch y'all in the next video. Peace.